Hey. Well, since the last video didn't go super well, me and Sharky here decided that we better get back on and make our own for our own classes. So anyway, today we're gonna talk about adding and subtracting in scientific notation. And I'm gonna teach how to do that in my shark suit because it's COVID and why not in my shark suit? Darn it. Just kidding. Okay, I miss y'all, but let's talk about some scientific notation. Okay, so today we're going to add and subtract in scientific notation, and let me remind you what we did. So for adding, obviously you're looking for the addition sign in the middle here. And you want to realize that if there is no decimal on the first number, there actually is an existing decimal at the end of the number. So the 3 has a decimal right here at the end of that 3, and the 9 has a decimal right here at the end of that 9. And what I showed you guys to do was to roll old school when adding and subtracting. So we're going to move the decimal for the 3 first. And we're going to move it back 6 spots. So I'm going to start it here. And this is where I'm going to start my decimal there. And I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. And I'm going to put that decimal nice and big right there. And I am going to fill it in with zeros. Now, the 9, I also need to move the decimal out 6 spots. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to start it there. I'm going to move it out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, fill those guys with zeros. Now, what I want to do is make sure I line this decimal up with this decimal underneath. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it under there. Okay, so starting with the decimal. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros, so I'm going to line them up. And then there is a 9, and these I'm going to add, and I'm going to add them as I learned in elementary school. Again, we're going to start at the right, so I'm going to put my decimal down. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 0, 0 plus 0, all the way on down until, in this case, I get to the end. 3 plus 9 is going to give me 12. Now, to get my final answer, what I want to do, these final answers need to be in scientific notation. Let's not forget that scientific notation means the first number has to be above 1 but below 10. So this number right here is way too big. I need that decimal to go all the way back to here between the 1 and the 2. So my first number for my answer is 1.2. It's always times 10. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to count the number of spaces I would have had to move the decimal back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots. And this is my final answer. Okay? Notice that my exponent is not the same as the exponent in the problem. Sometimes it will be the same and sometimes it won't. So you cannot depend on that. Okay, so that's adding. And subtracting is very similar. It is more important in subtraction that you make sure that the first number you write on the top and the second number you write underneath. And we are going to sometimes have to do borrowing. So let's go back through and remind ourselves how to do this one. We're going to start the same. We're going to take that 4.2 and we're going to move our decimal. In this case, we're going to move it 5 times out to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And fill those in with zeros. And I got the 5 because that's the exponent on the 10. And now I'm going to do this one and then I will line it up. Okay, so 8.1 times 10 to the third means I have to move it out 1, 2, 3 spaces. Fill it in with zeros. And again, I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it underneath here, but I'm going to start with the decimal. So decimal, so I'm moving this here. And then a 0, a 1, and an 8. And it's lined up with each one. Now this is subtract because that's what's in the middle here. Now, again, like elementary school, I will start all the way to the right. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 is technically a negative number, but when doing old school, before we learned negatives, we have to borrow. So I want to borrow from this one, but this neighbor right here has nothing to borrow from. So I have to borrow first from the 2. So the 2 now will become a 1, and that makes this a 10. The 10 then I am going to take away from and make a 9, so now I have a 10 here. So 10 minus 1 now is 9. 9 minus 8 I can do now, and that's 1. 1 minus nothing is 1, and 4 minus nothing is 4. Okay, now again, let's not forget that we do have to go back and put this guy in scientific notation. So this number is way too big. This would be 411,900. So we want it to be above 1 but below 10. So our decimal needs to go here between the 4 and the 1. So, excuse me. So I am going to have 4.119. I can stop writing once all that's left is zeros. Times 10, always times 10. And the exponent is the number of spaces I moved this decimal to get to there. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. And this is my final answer. Okay, hopefully this went a little bit better, or will go a little bit better than the last video. I will connect this to my YouTube, and so that hopefully everybody can get the link without having to do an external link. Let me know if you have any issues. Please email me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Good luck, everybody. All right, let's see if I can figure out how to shut this off. Boom. All right.